One of the ladies had management potential. And she was expressing that in her role. She said, I might want to become a manager, but manager, big responsibility, etc., etc. I said, okay, so let's do a NeurOlympics. She scored over there, structure, human, focused. And I said, oh, that's strange. You scored just like all the other managers. And she said, what does that mean? I said, okay, your hardware, your wiring is wired like a manager.
Pieter Talsma and Rob Oosterveer, two HR experts from the Employability Center at Atos, will share their insights on how they've excelled in workforce planning for this globally leading IT company.
As part of your talent first strategy, you are using some tools.
Are we?
Are you? Maybe not.
Talent is like gold. It's hard to find, and it's even harder to mine when you're on your own and you don't have the right equipment. So choose the right equipment.
The funny thing was that we have already the talent assessment, TMA. Yeah. So why do we need the NeurOlympics?
Welcome to the NeurOlympics podcast, brought to you by BrainsFirst, a company that helps you make better talent decisions powered by neuroscience. I'm Lucy. I'm the host of the NeurOlympics podcast, and I myself have a background in psychology and applied neuroscience. But now it's time to turn to our guests today, Pieter and Rob. Welcome on the NeurOlympics podcast.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And I think it would be lovely to hear a bit more about your background. So maybe we can start with you sharing a bit about yourselves, about your roles at Atos, what you do there.
Okay, he's the talkative guy, so I will start. I didn't start my career at Atos. I started my career at Dutch KPN, telecom company, and not in HR, but in hardcore ICT. First 18
completely
years.
Different.
Something completely different, yes. I began as a network operator, and I gradually worked myself up in approximately 18 years to data center operations manager. So if you look at the talent landscape, the NeurOlympics talent landscape, that's the upper and lower right-hand side of the talent landscape.
For the experts.
For the experts,
That's a tool that we use to place or match the cognitive profiles and abilities to the right jobs and roles.
Yeah.
So
and
this
then,
is striking.
After 18 years, a miracle happened. I made a 180.
Career turn.
A drastic career turn. Yeah. I was offered the position of HR officer. And I had to think for approximately 1/10 of a second, and I said yes. And that was one of the best decisions I ever made, because I've been doing HR-related work since then. At the moment, as you already said, I'm senior HR advisor and career coach. I do third-line advice on topics like dismissal, performance management, pension, and all kinds of other labor-related topics. And in addition to that, I'm a career coach. And just as Pieter, I'm certified in NeurOlympics and TMA. So, yeah. And if we look at my position in the talent landscape, the outcome of my NeurOlympics test, it's the upper left-hand side. So people-oriented, adaptive. And that's exactly the sweet spot for HR advisors. And that's where I am.
This is, I find that so striking, Rob, because I mean, you did this career switch approximately 5 years ago, right?
No, a little bit longer.
A little bit longer.
Yeah.
But when did you play the NeurOlympics? When did you get the first time you saw the outcome of
a little
the
less
cognitive?
than 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And then I saw that I really had made quite a journey from the lower right-hand side of the talent landscape to the upper left-hand side. Yeah. And all the parts of the journey were fun. Yeah. But this is more or less career home.
Yeah, because that's also what the outcomes of our tests say. But do you really feel like being at home now where you are? Yeah. Because this is
it's a confirmation of the feeling that I have about the line of work I'm in and the energy I get from doing it.
Yeah. And it's so, I think it's so inspiring to hear that you've been through so many stages and it's never too late to do this 180-degree turn and do something completely different.
Yeah.
Really cool story.
Thank you.
What about you, Pieter?
Well, a little bit the same story, to be honest. Yeah, I started working, I think it was in 1992. And I did the education on ICT. So I stepped in on system manager, system engineer, application manager, that kind of stuff. And I think I did it for 2.5 years. And then what I always like to do is to coordinate something with people. And I like that work. And then I was asked, there is a free position for a manager. Oh, I said, I can try because I think I'm quite new, so why not? But in the end, it wasn't me. It wasn't a colleague of mine. And then I think a half year later, they came back to me and they said, well, we are growing very fast. And would you like to be a manager within the ICT? Oh, I said, that's also my ambition, to work with the people, to create teams, to be effective with teams. And well, I have then done that for 25 years. And to be honest, when I look back, it's always a combination of achieving results, but with the people. That's very important for me. And I have seen over the years that it's more KPI oriented in the organization. We have hard targets, and sometimes it feels for me that the people, the employee, is on the second place. And for me, it's really important to have them on the first place, because I really believe that employees make the difference. So I think it was 5 years ago, and Rob and I think we met already in the 90s.
Really?
We both
hardcore ICT.
That's what we.
Yeah.
And Rob was already at that moment working in HR, working in an employability program, and I stepped in at that moment. And so with the joint forces, together with a colleague, Dennis Cornelissen, we are now in the Employability Center. So I am there as, let's say, a workforce management consultant, a career coach, and that's what we bring to the employees. And so looking at the career path I had, and also looking at the landscape of the BrainsFirst, it became clear to me that I had already almost the same way in the same road that
it was inevitable.
So
that's crazy.
We both
could be like this.
We both could have. We have seen but we both could have been a bartender, so that's why we felt.
That's why we chose
really
to
feel
here.
Really feel at home here.
Or actors, right? I also heard.
But also the role of coach, and I have also done over the years. And if I look back over the 30 years I'm already working, I did quite some coaching, but I never had a feeling that would be my full-time job. But at the moment.
But now look where you are.
Yeah.
And I assume you really enjoy it.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. Yeah. Because people are now in the middle, and it's looking at their talents. And I really believe that not everybody is aware of their talents. So it's really awesome to help those people.
That's so cool. Now you get to practice what you preach. So what you believe in, to also put it into action.
So it took some time.
Yeah, it took some time. Hey, but better late than never to discover.
And I also believe our experience helps us also, because we have seen a lot. We have seen where people are really going fast and make good career steps. But I have seen also a lot of people who were struggling. Yeah. So that's the experience we bring with us. So we are not the early 30s who need that experience. We already have seen a lot, and
we've made a lot of mistakes. And but the most valuable things are mistakes, because you can learn from them. Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. Hey, there's a reason for everything.
Yeah.
It's nice. Super cool stories. Maybe we can also share or give our listeners a little bit of a snapshot of what Atos is in a bigger picture. So with its global presence, its operations in the Netherlands, its recent reinvention, and also the future forward vision that the company.
You're getting along quite well, thank you. No, let me add some data to that. We are a worldwide player on the ICT market. With we have presence in more than 70 countries worldwide, and Pieter and I have more than 76,000 colleagues worldwide. So rather big company. Yeah, we've had our troubles the last couple of months, years, but we are back. We've reinvented ourselves, and we're looking strongly ahead to the future. In the Netherlands, we have also a presence, 2,000 employees. I almost forgot to say, there's two brands. There's the Atos brand and the Evident brand. both belonging to the same Atos family. Eviden is related to big data and security, and Atos is related to all the rest of the ICT. But together we are one big happy family. And in the Netherlands, we are 2,000 strong, and we work for lots of customers, government. We work at our customer location, and we also work from our head office in Amstelveen, and the offices in Eindhoven and Groningen.
That's big. Super, super cool. Yeah. And now let's dive into your field of expertise, the talent management side. Since Atos is operating in a highly dynamic environment, what are some of the key challenges that Atos is experiencing when it comes to workforce planning?
I think if you look at the labor market, it's a quite difficult market at the moment. You see, there is a lot of work to do, a lot of new roles. So for us, it's quite hard to bring the new people in. But I think that everybody is dealing with that in the labor market. What you can also see is that the cost of the hiring are very high due to that, because if there is a lot of need for the people, then people know exactly what they can achieve in the market. So we have to compete with a lot of companies. So that makes it also difficult for us in this market. But I think on the other hand, looking at the UEFA, looking at the Olympics, looking at the customers we have, we are very attractive to people and to step in. And I think what also makes it great is that we are an ICT integrator. So we have all kind of roles within our company. So you can be a project manager, an engineer, an architect, consultant, a sales. Every role is available all over the world.
You want to be.
So that makes us a quite unique company in what we have and what we have to offer to our people. And for that reason, I think what we are doing with workforce management is really important to look at all the capabilities you have inside and what can you do with that.
Even more motivating.
One small addition to that, if we look at the market, if you look at the technology, then that's not a static environment. It's constantly moving. And for a company like ours, that means that we are looking at reduction on the left side and a growth on the right side. We're looking at offshoring, outtasking, outsourcing, all at the same time. So we have to shift our energy, we have to shift our people constantly from an area that has a plus to an area that has a minus, etc., etc. And that's where a party like the Employability Center steps in to make that run smoothly. So that's where we started. And we made it bigger. We first started solving a need, but when that went rather smoothly, we thought, okay, but we are able to give career advice to everyone with a career question. So if you want to talk about your career, even when there is nothing the matter, come to us. We'll discuss it with you. We will be you will be treated confidential. We are your partner in crime concerning your career. And
that's so cool.
And that's how it started, and that's how it's running at the moment. And what do we bring to the table? Our own expertise, the tooling, the network the three of us have. And the energy of the employee, him or herself. Because if that's lacking, that's the start and the end of the story.
Exactly.
My personal catchphrase is, everything you put into it, I will double it. So if you put in nothing, I can't do anything for you. But if you put in 100, I'll make it 200.
200.
Yeah, I'm just a casino. Yeah.
I think it was also quite important that we did it in the collaboration with the Works Council. So that also made it very successful, because they are always looking at the employees, how can we help them as an organization? And we were exactly in the middle of that. So they were really supporting us. We're also doing a lot of things together with them to bring the best in our employees. So and that also really helped us. And we have seen over now the last 5 years, as Rob told, and a lot of things happened in our organization. But everybody was quite confident that we needed, in all that sort of situations, the Employability Center, because That's also a place for the employee that if they feel some struggle or if they loses their job, that they can go there. And also, I think what is important, because Rob said they can come to us, but what we have done a lot, we went to them. Show them what is our value add, how can we help them, how do we get visible for them, because you can sit in a room and place on the window employability center and then sit and wait and see. Well, nobody is coming to us. I don't know, but we
you put in the efforts to approach people as well.
But also when we compare our activities with activities in other companies, other companies have a room with a sign on it, career coach.
Yeah,
and you can go there if you have a problem. But the three of us are with one leg in the business or in HR and the other leg in the career coaching. So we have more than a bit of information about what's happening. We're not we're not an island.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of everything.
Yeah, and you're the capital.
Yeah, and then, thank you. But then looking at experience, what we were talking about, Dennis, Rob and I have been manager in the organization. So we know a lot of people, we know a lot of managers, we know how they act, how they think. So that's also then really helpful, that experience, because we have also seen it and we have also have some struggles. So we know exactly what their need is, how we can support them, how we can also coach them a little bit from our experience. So it's not only that we are career coach, but we have the management experience. We have been in the heart of the ICT because we were system engineer or system operator or anything else, but
even network operator.
So that's I think very makes it very strong. And people, there is not a big step to come to us because they know us, they know how to find us, and they know what we can offer to them. Yeah,
that's super strong. It's like you're juggling so many different roles, even being the psychologist or the therapist of the company. It seems.
and then think about it. If I should have started as coach right away, I would have another background because then it was only focused on the people and to coach people. But now I can add also the workforce management part or to be for the manager, someone.
Yeah, a word that comes to mind, it's super authentic then because you've been through it all yourself and you have bring together so much experience that allows you to look at the people and also what is happening from so many different angles and perspectives. That is really, really cool. Mm-hmm. And as part of your talent first strategy, you are using some tools. For example,
are we?
Are you? Maybe not.
Yeah. Sorry.
For example, the NeurOlympics, right? Yeah. How do you integrate them? How do you make use of them in your day-to-day business?
Well, I think, but Rob was involved in that. It all started a little bit, I think it was in 2012, when we as a company decided to use the TMA, the Talent Motivation Analysis. Let's say it was always available in the organization, but not everybody was aware of that. And when we started the Employability Center, we said it's really important to have some kind of toolbox which we can make use of it. So what's in the toolbox? And of course, it's always important to have as an employee a CV. It's important that you know your talents, etc., etc. And then we said we develop a lot as a company, but due to the fact we had already the TMA, that was a very useful tool to use for that. And at some moment in time, we will discuss, I think, that a little bit later. But we were also involved. And that was a really funny story because Dennis, whom we already mentioned, he had an appointment with Niels Broers.
From BrainsFirst.
At the last moment, Dennis said to us, looking at my agenda, it's not possible for me to go. So,
okay.
And we said, no. But he forced us.
And to be honest, it was very funny because we were sitting there with Niels and we thought, we do it for Dennis, but
what are we doing here?
Expect anything. So sitting there, and then Niels started to talk about it,
And then we got really enthusiastic.
Okay, how did that go? I'm curious.
Yeah, he started talking, and we were used to using TMA. Very interesting tool based upon 300 questions. And the outcome is what are my drivers? What's my motivation? Where do I get my energy? But a little bit biased. And we were more or less unconsciously looking for an addition or something else. And then
you just didn't know it then.
No, there was that urge.
Yeah.
TMA is not everything. TMA is not the holy grail. But what's next? What's different? What else? And we got lots of feedback from our colleagues that 312 questions, Rob. Are you crazy or what?
How long does it take?
Yeah. Ages.
I've never taken it.
Ages. 45 minutes. 45. No, it's even.
It's really quick,
same time as the NeurOlympics. So it's not.
Okay. They probably tell you don't spend too much time thinking about them.
That's it.
Intuitive.
Your
first gut feeling you have to go with.
But not everyone is able to do so. We had feedback from people that say, I don't know how I filled it in. Was it with my business hat or my personal hat or whatever? So all those reasons together made us think we need something, not something else, but something in addition, more bias-free. But also, TMA is from 2012. It was 2023, 2024. We wanted to upgrade to the future. And then Niels stepped in. And after a couple of minutes, we looked at each other and we said, okay, that's nice. And then
good job,
he proceeded. And then we said, we want to have this. And then let's not too enthusiastic because then we started experimenting with it and we were over the moon with it. That's new, data driven, bias free, and it's also based upon gamification. So for the younger population that's not used to more than 5 questions after each other and then you offer them 312, it's
then
completely new ballgame. And that's fun to offer, fun to do. And the outcome, whoa. So
that's really, because I think the TMA shows what you want to do, your motivations, but then with the NeurOlympics, since it's
what you're able to do.
What are you able to do? What can you do by looking at the brain?
Exactly. For the colleagues that we offered the both of them, TMA and NeurOlympics, as a package to our colleagues. And I always say to the colleague that does both the tests, the TMA is the house you live in, and the NeurOlympics is the foundation of the house. And that really goes well for them because there's a lot of cross references, but sometimes TMA goes left, where the NeurOlympics go right, and then you have a real interesting discussion.
When they're, because how could that go left or right? Maybe we can bring up an example that just the motivation of what someone wants to do doesn't really match what they should do. Or,
for example, look at me. I started in the lower right-hand corner of the talent landscape as a real data nerd. And why did I do that? Because my father was in ICT and I should follow in his footsteps, whatever. And because I didn't have any other impulses that said, do what you want, whatever. It was the century before. So we're talking about working long and hard, etc., etc. I did what I did until I thought, okay, but is this really what I like?
A second question,
And there's sometimes there are some life-changing events for people that bring them in a situation that they hold and they count their blessings and they count their sorrows and they say, okay, but I have to work for 7 years or 8 years. Do you want to keep doing this? So on those crossroads, there's choices.
And also, if I look at myself, I'm always seen as a manager in that role as result oriented, and I was always asked for the next role. So I didn't have to think about it because they asked me. I was very proud on that. I said, of course,
always
I said
nice
yes
to be
because,
asked.
I didn't learn well at home to say no. So I always said yes. And
you can ask him anything.
And
the door opens and Pieter goes through it.
And then they see me, I become visible, and that's what I like. So everything. But when I did I did the assessments, it became very clear to me that I acted result oriented, and that's what people saw. But in my heart, it's more people oriented and the process and doing it together. What's important to me? That gives me energy, because when they were really pushing hard from the organization on the KPIs, I wasn't happy anymore. And I did feel that. But I stayed strong, and I said, and everybody asked me, are you okay? Yes, of course I'm okay. And then I smiled a little bit. And then people said, he's okay. But deep inside, I wasn't okay. So I think that's also what I think the NeurOlympics brings. Gives you the insight and the feedback that, I'm in people oriented. And that's what I felt the whole time. So that brings together and and I see for a lot of people have exactly the same. So people are looking you in some way. Where they
that's
think,
also what you think you are.
Exactly. And then this is a very good way to turn it around. To become aware. That's not the case. I should be doing more of this and that.
And that's what, for example, I also experienced when I, for the first time, got the insight into my cognitive profile. And you know, as a student in psychology and in neuroscience, you think you know yourself very well. And I do a lot of self-reflection, and I'm really behind this. And I think I seek for feedback from people. So you think, okay, I know who I am. But still, I had some insights where I was like, I kind of knew this. What you just described, Peter, I kind of knew this and I had a feeling about this, but it was a bit more invisible. I couldn't, and then the results are there, and then you're like, oh my word, now I have the explanation.
Really
it makes
in your
sense.
face.
It's in your face. It's, for example, that people all my life told me, and that's also what kind of feeling I had, that I'm a really bad decision maker. They just cannot make decisions. And this is really the case when I have these billion amounts of choices, I will just keep contemplating about what should I do. But then there was also a side where I sometimes thought, like in university, but sometimes I can make decisions. And now it's clear to me, since I have the results of the NeurOlympics, I'm a very contemplative thinker. So I will go back and forth if you present me all the choices. But if you put me under pressure, I'm really a practical decision maker. I have no problem to make a decision in the moment if I have to. And now I'm like, oh my, that makes so much sense. But I just did not know that or did not see that. And I think this is a value that it gives you. It just gives some explanation to something that you might have already known or not. Even sometimes self-insights where you're like, wow.
And it's positive reinforcement. It's okay. You know where it comes from, and you know you can act accordingly, but also in another way if it's necessary.
And that makes it, I think, for us, using the 2 assessments, very good to work with, because if people recognize themselves in the TMA, they say, oh, that's what I am. And then they see the results of the NeurOlympics and say, oh, that's strange. This gives us another insight. And then we start talking, okay, what's happening here?
Then we have a real conversation.
Then you have a conversation.
And if you have only one assessment, then that's the objective answer. And everybody said, okay, that's it. And now we have the really conversation on the table. So that's.
And I think it's a great description of how we also see ourselves as BrainsFirst. We're like a piece of the missing puzzle to make good talent decisions. It's not this or that, but it's just an additional piece that I think gives really valuable insights, these cognitive additions.
But sometimes it's the most valuable piece, the missing piece.
That
you put in, and then you see the complete picture.
The complete picture that you before didn't see. I like that analogy. Maybe if we look at even a little bit more deeply into case stories, let's say, at Atos. You recently went through some transitions, workforce transitions at Atos, and you used the NeurOlympics as for outplacement. How did that go, and what are some of the outcomes that you saw or you see?
Well, I think it was a really difficult start because we were enthusiastic about the NeurOlympics. So we thought we are going to do that in our organization. And then the first question was, show us the business case. We thought, oh dear.
No, the first question was, oh, this will certainly cost money.
but that was...
Shit.
The funny thing was that everybody said, okay, but we have already the talent assessment, TMA. So why do we need the NeurOlympics? And when it's something is new for you, you can have the gut feeling that it's the two and what you need, but we didn't have the right answers at that moment in time. So what we started to do, thinking, how can we solve it? And then it came to us.
Yeah.
Because there was a whole group of management assistants. I think it was 35.
35 management assistants.
And the senior manager told them, your job is at risk. I don't know when, but at some moment in time, it will be not there anymore.
Your role will become obsolete. So
Okay.
I want to tell you now, so you can make your own career decisions, etc., etc. There's no rush, but start thinking about your next steps and start contacting Pieter, Dennis, and Rob if you want to discuss your options with them.
He said the famous words: "The Employability Center can help you."
Yeah.
And then Luke and Rob and I looked at each other,
and we started running. No,
well, we thought how because
how
No.
what should we do?
No, we thought this is going to cost you. Yeah, because after that we went back to that same guy and we said, okay, we can help you, no props, but there's a small cost.
Yeah, but there's something to add, Rob, because we already knew that the possibilities for those management assistants were not as many, because the only role we had and we saw was project management support.
Yeah.
So we only had, I think, 2 vacancies. So if you have 35 management assistants and only 2 vacancies,
then you have a problem.
So we said, and if we really want to help them, we need to support them and to have take a good look at themselves, what their talents are, and how they can, with their talents, make that next step. Then we said, okay, we have the NeurOlympics here, and we think that can really support them to make this happen. So that's the moment we came with the business case and said, okay, if someone leaves the company and some money is involved with it because we need to bring them something, then we can also use that money to invest in this kind of tooling and see how we can help them with it. And at the end,
how did it go?
And there's lots of spin-offs from that event. First, why wasn't TMA an exact fit? Just as you said earlier on, TMA looks at what you want to do. And what we were looking for were the competencies. Because if you ask a unit assistant what she wants to do, then she says, I want to be a unit assistant. But given the fact that there's no opportunity for you within this organization, then everything stops.
Then it stops.
So we have to drill down you, not only asking you what you want, but also what are your cognitive competencies? What are you able to do? And that's where the NeurOlympics stepped in. We wanted to create an environment in which we were not constantly forced to say, okay, the only function that's available is unit assistant, but there's no unit assistants anymore. No, we wanted to become creative, think out of the box. And that's where NeurOlympics helped us to become creative and think out of the box. Because of the fact that being told that your job is at risk is always a sad story. How much money a company gives you to go somewhere else, it's you have to leave. That's the message. But if you give someone real support and you tell them, we've got a tool for you and that's very special and we are going to put that in place especially for you to assist you, and the people using the tool see real progress, then you can leave, as we discussed earlier, with dignity, with your head up. And the marvelous thing is, on the one hand, we have saved lots of money and time because motivated people to go somewhere else will go earlier than not motivated people. And every month that someone stays on the payroll without doing anything, he or she only costs money. So we more or less, I made a calculation. I think we might have saved 200,000 to 300,000 euros in this action. On the other hand,
which I think is quite big. I'm not a financial officer, but
that's the business case.
the costs were lower on the NeurOlympics.
So the business case was more than okay. But on the other hand, all the ladies that left have gone to roles, functions in which they were taken in more or less right away because they went there with confidence. And most of them even have improved themselves in role, in salary, etc., etc. So it's a win-win-win story. And
that
we
is
had
so
for
cool.
follow-up situations, we had a super business case.
Yeah.
Employee happy, company happy, and we happy.
And you happy.
Yeah.
It's all an equation.
Yeah.
Because I think this is so cool, because I know from my personal surrounding, 2 of my friends who experienced outplacement. And I think I don't know if we actually underestimate, but it has a huge impact.
Yeah.
Because we spend so much time, we discussed earlier, 1/3 of our lifetime approximately working. And it's like when you get this message, I think that's what my friends experienced. You feel lost, and you feel like, I don't know what I should do. You feel demotivated.
Yeah.
You're even fearing a bit the future, what is going to come next, and all this process that is involved of. And so this is so nice to, you get a bad message, but at the same time you get a perspective, and it's kind of like you're shedding some light on someone's path, a potential future path. And then, as you said, even giving them confidence, because you now know, hey, this is a role that might also suit me, or this is a position that might also make me really happy. And all of this together, I think, is such a cool thing, because what does it do to you personally?
It gives me a sense of pride, and if I can be part of your career in a positive way. You also made a small bridge to something I want to tell about one of those unit assistants and her step into the dark, or step into the light, assisted by the NeurOlympics. One of the ladies had management potential, and she was expressing that in her role. She was secretary to one of the directors, and she more or less, in operation, she was the director, only she didn't have the title. But when we had conversations about her career prospects, etc., inside or outside the company, she said, I might want to become a manager, but manager, big responsibility, etc., and I don't think I'm able to do that. I said, okay, fair enough. I don't know if you're right, but also don't know if you're wrong. So let's do a NeurOlympics. And as the 3 of us know, we know where the manager is in the quadrant, upper right-hand side. And just the fact that she scored over there, structure, human, focused. And I said, oh, that's strange. You scored just like all the other managers. She said, am I really? I said, yeah, you are. And she said, what does that mean? I said, okay, your hardware, your wiring is wired like a manager. So I wouldn't hesitate. I would start doing it, because unconsciously you're able to do so. And this is not the 10 Commandments, but this is some strong reinforcement of what you already felt the couple of years before. So start doing it, and she did. And she did. Currently, she's very happy, and her boss is even happier, because he can drop lots of workload over there.
She's doing a good job.
So it can sometimes it lets you focus on something completely different, something you haven't thought about before. But sometimes it reinforces. It can support a choice that you want to make, but are reluctant to make. And this that was in this case, that was the situation.
And I think that is so crucial from 2 aspects, because I mean, we as humans, we struggle with decision making anyways. We struggle to take a step if it feels like a really big step. And I think then if you get the confirmation, hey, this might be really something for you, you're more prone to take that step as your colleague did.
And your manager too, because when it all drills down to money, do I want to invest in you? And how much guarantee will I have regarding the outcome? And if it's completely black in the future, then you react in another way than if you say, okay, those cognitive values, they are in place.
So it might be a really good step to take.
Because you can learn everything except how you're wired, because that's hard-coded more or less.
Exactly. And then it also gives you, that's the second thing with the decision making. Once you make a decision, often we ruminate or contemplate, was that the right choice or not? And then that gives you the confidence, hey, this might be a really well taken
positive
step,
reinforcement.
Right? It's a positive reinforcement. That is really cool. Thank you for sharing that that story. And
one thing to add from my side, because you were asking what does it mean to you.
Yeah.
But I think it's very important, and that does a lot with me, is only to be there for your colleague, to listen to their story, because it's not a nice story, as you were saying, what you hear at that moment in time. So you have the fear what will happen now. Maybe you're very angry on the organization. You think this shouldn't be the case. I should still stay here, and then at the end people calm down and then help them to make the next step. Yeah, that's really brings a lot to me, because I think that's how it should work. Because if you say to people you're fired and you have some money and then it's up to you, that's really difficult, because then you sit home, hopefully with some of your family, but then your family needs to support you. And they do not know the situation, they do not know what's going on, and they hear all the stories and all the emotions, and I think that's not good. I think that should be at the company side. So the company should help, because people sometimes work 30 years for your company, and then I can understand that at some moment in time it stops, but then I think it's also up to the company to support your employees in the next step, and not say, oh, the next step is here you have some money and bye bye.
I already gave you money, so
that's not how it should work. And I think that, and if you can see that, then that really gives some heart to the organization, and people recognize that, because they have some place where they can be emotional and do the next step and see what the talents are. And I've seen that. Well, I've done almost 40 assessments with the people for the NeurOlympics, and I see they grow when they knew what the talents are, and they say, okay, but I'm very proud of myself, and I believe it, and I can take that next step, because that's also how they step to the next role, to the next employer, with that confidence that they can do it, and not that, oh, I'm fired and I need some new job, but I don't know what, and I have no confidence, and there is no employer who will take you on board.
No.
Exactly, and that's how. Exactly, because with this attitude, you go into the future, you go into your next steps, potential interviews or whatever. And it might not feel good, and then the result might not be well. I love with what you just share, because this is what I also feel as a company, you should, I think, have the responsibility for your people. No matter how long they have worked for you, but especially, of course, when it's been a long, long time. And I love that you take that responsibility and you turn it into something gold, because I think it is valuable for the company, but also for you personally, and then for the individual. It's a win-win from all perspectives.
And at the end of the day, if you guide someone through the grief curve, the Kubler-Ross grief curve, it will take some time, but it will help those people to prepare themselves for something new. As opposite, you say, here's some money, here's this, here's that, tomorrow's your last day, bye-bye. Doesn't work.
You help to.
You give no support, but on the other hand, you give the employee every opportunity to say, oh no, I'll wait. Try to get me out. Because, and if it's co-production, if it's teamwork, then you gradually work to a combined conclusion that the both of you are okay with.
100%.
So it costs a little bit more time, but it's even on a if you look at how much it costs money wise, it's much more better than the cold shoulder.
So even from a financial side, you see a big benefit.
If you offer them outplacement and they say no, which they have the right to, then they can stay even for more than a year or 2 years, and then it costs you a lot of money. And you have also
resentment. The relationship.
The relationship is broken, and that's also what happens.
Because now either instead of resentment, you have people leaving with confidence, with a glow up, with some positivity, with happy faces on. I think it's so valuable.
The start is the same, grief. But if you work through the grief together, and you really assist people in opening up opportunities, discussing the situation in a normal and a fair way, then you'll be much better off, the employee and the company, than if you say, oh, here's money and bye-bye.
So cool. What is like from some of your key learnings from using in general, cognitive insights. Is there something you would like to share with companies or individuals? I mean, we spoke a lot, but something in addition that you would like to share that you think could be very valuable for any company who's not using cognitive insights?
Well, I think it always starts to be aware of what's happening in your organization and what do you need. Because if you look at your whole workforce management in your organization, it's all about people coming in, doing some jobs in their company, and finally find a new job maybe outside your company. But it's always how do you support your people? How do you bring the talents on the table? Because I think, and we have quite some experience over the years, but I think a lot of people are sitting in the organization and not using all their talents. And that's two-way. First of all, the management is not fully aware of that. And the second thing that's even more important, the employee is not aware of that. So, and what we have experienced is that if you do those kind of assessments, that really brings in a very natural way on the table to discuss what these talents are. And it's not that what I think what your talent is, and I tell you that it's about what you filled in and see what your talent really is. Because I always believe that when someone tells what your talent is, and with the result oriented I told already, then you really start to believing it. And then in the end, if everybody does that, then everybody does something what is not really the talent. But
that's so true.
And if it's not your talent, you really need to work hard. So what I also believe is that some burnouts are the consequence of that people are not using their talents, but work very hard for the things the company wants to achieve, and they think they need to do that. And then finally, they got no energy left and sit home.
I think you're saying something super crucial here. And our co-founder, Ilya, shout out to you, Ilya Sichte, is always using this metaphor of you can go with if you're sitting in a canoe, you can go with the stream, you can go downstream, or you can go upstream. And I think this is when you're working in your sweet spot, what your true talents are, it flows. But if you're in the wrong position of what comes hard to you,
lots of effort.
Then it's a lot of effort that you have to go against the stream because it just doesn't go natural. And also another thing you said, just Pieter, what I find really important, I think we also need to be aware, especially in management positions, or if we work with people and we advise people, that what we tell them has an impact. And if you tell them this is who you are, people will believe it. And so there is a lot of power in our words, and we should be careful with what we say. And if you,
and even then, because if you have some performance management system, and every year you're looking at that performance, what you mostly see is that if you look over 10 years, then every time each manager writes down the same thing. Result, re-enter, result, re-enter, result. So, and that's with communication. If you hear 7 times the message, you're really going to believe it.
Exactly.
So nobody is really thinking anymore.
It's just you don't question it. You don't question it also.
No, exactly.
And it's even more difficult to write down something else, because the last 7 times you wrote down result oriented. So why am I not result oriented anymore? So true. You're trapped in your own information. So true.
So I think it really adds something to companies to start with this, and not every company is the same. I can understand it, but if you really want to make use of the talents of your people, then first do the deep dive. What the talents do they have, and then look at what is because that's also important. What's the vision? What's the strategy of your company? What kind of people do you need in the future? Because it could be that some people have talents which you need in the future, but not now. And then you say we're going to fire you because you don't have the talents which we can make use of it today. But if you know what talents are needed for the future, then that gives another view on what you need
to do. And speaking of the future, do you have any other plans for using these tools or insights for the future of talent management at Atos?
There's two things. One of the things I want to tell about is the near future, or even now. What we've seen is that in addition to people that have career questions or people that get benched and need assistance, there's also a growing category of colleagues that have become ill and are reintegrating and want to use that reintegration time to get more grip on their career. Looking back, what happened to me? Why did it happen? And looking forward, how can I make that that situation not happen again?
Yeah.
And what I've seen, the combination TMA and NeurOlympics is a very strong tool in order to get that discussion going. What happened and what did it mean to you? What are your real talents? And in what type of environment can your real talents really grow?
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with only discussing information with people that you cannot touch because they are in a foreign place? Or do you need real colleagues? That's for some people, that's a make or break. But if you don't know that and if you don't discuss it with them, then it's rather strange that Piet isn't here anymore because he's at home with a burnout. Yeah. And if he returns and you send him back to his screen and the colleagues in India, then you can wait for it. Instead of if you say, okay, let's make some investigation. Let's do a TMA. Let's do a BrainsFirst NeurOlympics. And why don't your talents flow? Because you need a certain environment. So let's together look for that environment to make your talents flow. And
I love that.
Yeah, we didn't recognize it. This is something that happened more or less the last half year. And we didn't recognize it. One of the health case managers, we also have our own health case managers, asked me, Rob, how many people that have returned from long-term illness have been offered a NeurOlympics and a TMA? And I started counting and I said 10. And then I discussed it with Pieter and he said, hey, that's strange. So we can help them too. Yeah. And we're not the company doctor. Let me put it very bluntly. But
only the psychologist of the company.
But we can help people find their sweet spot.
Yeah.
And the environment of their sweet spot. So we can do some prevention.
That's so cool because that's something I discussed with Andries and Eyal and our co-founders. I think we have this mentality in our society nowadays that we try to cramp people into certain positions or that they would fit a certain company culture, but not the other way around.
Yeah.
And I love that you bring this up now. It's like looking for what can we do for you to shape this environment so that you can work well.
Yeah.
I think it's really not the way that we practice it naturally.
No.
It's more the other way around. We try to, people come in and we try to, that they could adopt the values and everything to match the company, but not that the company would match the needs of the people. So that's awesome. And
and there's another thing we're currently working on, discussing, probing, talking with Ilya about how to use the NeurOlympics from BrainsFirst related to recruitment. Because we can, on the one hand, we can use the NeurOlympics in order to get candidates to tell us, to show us where the sweet spot is, and if the role for which they applied really belongs to them. On the other hand, it's a very powerful and lovely gift to give to people that want to come and work for us. A first step in your career, the guidance. So, but
it's like a gift.
It's a present.
Yeah.
But as we were discussing this with Ilya earlier on this week, it's a present, but we need to put it in the right place.
Yeah.
In order to let it shine. So where in the process will we put the NeurOlympics and what will be the outcome of the NeurOlympics and how we will go about with the outcome and what will it mean for the candidate and what will it mean for the company. So we're working on it. It's work in progress.
Yeah.
We've been talking to, assisted by your company, to other companies that are currently using the NeurOlympics as part of their recruitment and or onboarding process, and we're learning from them. Nice. But we also have our own learning curve.
It's all,
and on top of that, last year we started with all our young professionals within Atos, but we will also do that in the coming year for the Eviden young colleagues to offer them also the TMA and the combined with the NeurOlympics to get insight in their next career step. Because what we also have learned is that we bring the new people in, and then after 2-3 years, they are doing very well in their current job, and their manager wants to let them stay in that current job, but they are ready for the next step. And we think it's always better to let them become aware of their talents and also make use of that in the organization. And I think the good thing we did together with BrainsFirst is that if you look at the talent landscape, of course, there is somewhere your dot in the talent landscape, and it gives you also insight in which roles you could also act in quite very well. But what we have done is that our whole job family, with the 10 roles we mostly use within the company, we also placed in the talent landscape. So for our candidates, it's very good to see if you are somewhere there in the talent quadrant, and you want to become very good in some kind of role or your ambition, or we can tell you it's also possible to make the next career step, for example, to a consultant or an architect. Then they become enthusiastic, because then we can create together with them a career path. So that's it's not only that we keep them and we keep them at the customer side and they have a good utilization and we earn a lot of money because of them. No, it's also thinking with them, what could be your next career step, and close to your heart, and not what we want. So if we say we want you to be an architect, but some person is really very valuable as a consultant, then we can make the step to the consultant, because then we know for quite sure that we keep someone on board. So that's what we also started last year, and I think still have some work to do, and we need some more coaches
also
in the organization. Because in the Netherlands, in the Eviden organization, we have I think more than 300 people younger than 35. So that's a very big group. And I think we really can support them. And to be honest, if we talk to the managers and the employees, almost everyone says yes. And
that's nice. So cool to give like guidance and to take people a bit on the hand. I think everyone can relate that you at some point think, am I in the right spot? What else could there be? Should I make a move? Should I not make a move? And just to have this opportunity that you want to provide.
And exactly where we started. And we are a very big company. We have a lot of roles within that company, a lot of customers all over the globe. So we have a lot of possibilities. And if only hire someone and to say, oh, you're an engineer and that's it.
That's what you'll be until your state pension date.
That
forever
be the case.
You'll be this.
So,
super nice. Well, before I ask you the last question on our episode today, was there anything else you wanted to maybe mention that we haven't touched upon? If not, that's also great. Then I did a great job as a host. But
you certainly did a great job. You kept us talking and talking and talking.
No, I think it's nice to mention that we really have the ambition, and we have almost 2,000 employees in the Netherlands. But Atos is much bigger. But to start with that 2,000, it would be very helpful. We have all the 2,000 doing those talent assessments, because even in the last part of their career, and the funny thing is, I had now already 3 or 4 people who came to us and said, I'm in the last phase of my working life, and after that, I will also do some work. But what is the best thing I can do? And then I always say, do you still not know that? Because you're 64, and then and the case is they are in the same situation as us. They have been asked for, can you do this role, that role? And they also can now come to an end and say, but what is really my talent, and what do I really like? So that's also to offer to them really helpful, because
love it.
I think they work even longer than 67 or something like that, because they know what their talent is, and say, okay, but I'm gonna focus on that. The last year,
it's a nice farewell present.
Yeah, for sure. Super cool.
Yeah.
Rob and Pieter, if our listeners should take away one message from this episode, what would it be?
Just do the NeurOlympics and no, but really, it's get the experience, because I have also in our organization sometimes discussions with people. Yeah, but what does it bring me? I said, don't discuss. Just do it.
Do it. Yeah.
And then you can see what it brings to you. If it brings nothing, throw it away.
Yeah. And then we can have the discussion.
And then we can have the discussion.
Yeah.
But just do it.
Yeah. Love it. Rob, your moment.
Your moment, my moment of glory. Yeah. Oh, I had some piece of tile wisdom written down here because I wanted to bring it to you. I wrote down, talent is like gold. It's hard to find. And it's even harder to mine when you're on your own and you don't have the right equipment. So, choose the right equipment, NeurOlympics, and do things together. Yeah, that's more or less my message. Do it together, use the right tools, and you'll go very far. And you will even enjoy the journey. Just as important.
Even be nice.
Yeah.
Well, I enjoyed our journey of this episode. It was such a pleasure, Pieter and Rob, speaking with you, hearing all your insights, because I love these perspectives that you gave and coming with all your experience and with everything you have already seen and learned. It's so valuable, and for sure, you know that you make an impact in people's lives, but I'm sure you're not even aware of how big that impact might be. I hope that you get that something back from people, but it's great what you're doing, and I love your talent first strategy. Keep on going with this. I love your enthusiasm, and thank you for sharing that today on our episode.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Really, really great. And if you want to follow Pieter and Rob's advice and also level up your talent management strategy as a company, you have the opportunity to get in touch with us. You can book a demo call today if you go to www.brainsfirst.com/demo, and we would love to put you together with one of our people at BrainsFirst to discuss any strategies that we have in mind for your company to step up your game, to help you. You can ask any questions that you would like. So please make your next step as a company, and we will help you with this. And of course, we want to see you more frequently here on the NeurOlympics podcast. So please make sure to subscribe to your favorite platform today. You can find us under www.brainsfirst.com/podcast, because we don't want for you to miss out on any of our episodes. And having that said, I wish you all a very nice rest of the week. Stay healthy, stay happy, everyone, and see you next time on the NeurOlympics podcast. Ciao, ciao.